Welcome back to Unsolicited, where we give you our unsolicited insights on all things maybe you didn't even know you wanted to know about government contracting. Today's episode, you might notice, is slightly different from most, not just because our producer Geronimo is sitting in front of the camera with me, but also because we are diving into Secretary of War's SpaceX speech today.
Uh-oh.
I know. So we'll share what we think the guidance means in practice. So be sure that you subscribe, like, and all the other things so you don't miss any of these conversations. You ready, Geronimo?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to get started. What we're going to do here is watch a clip, and then we're going to give you our thoughts on it.
We must ensure that America's military AI dominance, so that no adversary can exploit that same technology to hold our national security interests or our citizens at risk.
Okay, so I definitely saw this more as time to field reliable delivery, not AI necessarily. I think we're talking about how do we reliably deliver and consider mission variables.
That's a good way of looking at it. Sorry, I'm simple-minded. I'm thinking weapons, war, Department of War. That's our new weapon. We need it now. We can't let our adversary master this weapon before we do.
But you remember when everybody used to say, like, taking something that was handwritten and putting it into a document you can open on a computer was innovation. In reality, it was just modernization, right? But we were just focused on everything being electronic. And so I think the message got lost in the delivery. And so I think this is some of that. I think most people hear AI and immediately their brain goes to more AI. We need more AI. And I think this is less about AI hype and more about, hey, this is a time to field. Like, how much time does it take to get an idea to the people making the mission happen?
I see that. And fill in the blank, right? It's just AI is just a mechanism to help get that blank to the people that need it, AKA the warfighter. I see that logic. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
We need to be blunt here. We can no longer afford to wait a decade for our legacy prime contractors to deliver the next perfect system.
That's what you were saying. Yeah.
Only to find that it's delivered years behind schedule and cost 10 times what it should. Winning requires a new playbook.
So, I mean, I reiterate what I've said. Like, we're talking about not just changing a thing about what we do. It's changing the way we do the things we do.
Yeah.
Faster.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't help but to think T-Pain. All I do is win. Gotta win, man. Like it's why do we need to change? We need to change because we got to stay ahead of the curve, and we have to win. There's only winners and losers in this game of war, right? And I want to win.
Yeah, 100%. And so if a government contracting officer or a service recipient were watching this, they might think, well, what can I do actually to make this faster? And I think one of the things they can do is, how do you help industry move faster? Well, you help industry move faster by writing requirements around outcomes and decision advantages, not these long feature lists of all the things they wish could come of it. Just say what the outcome needs to be, and then let some of the industry partners go out and see what are we doing about that and how do we get the answer to you quicker. And so I think this will work best if, in fact, we are funding in increments, you think?
Ooh, yeah. My takeaway from that is help us, help you, help freedom.
And I mean, some of the things that I think is one of our advantages is when you look at how do things move faster, what is small business known for? Agility, right? You want to go faster. Yep. That is a tool in your repertoire.
Which has been proven through decades. That's why I just my own opinion, that's why small business was invited to be part of the military industrial base.
Yeah, for sure. We heard that in the speech yesterday too. Okay.
We will use every hiring and pay authority available to us to bring the best American technical talent and reward effective AI transformations by our workforce. We're going to heavily leverage President Trump's Tech Force initiative to bring in the best and brightest from industry and academia.
So, I mean, he is definitely saying, I need you to think, how do you become a partner that we want to keep? Mm-hmm. One of those ways is be fast, be agile, mm-hmm. and deliver.
And whatever it takes. I'm seeing some privatization going on, right? Our marketing team shared with us. Facebook has a model. You can't be afraid to break it, or be afraid to spend the money.
That's right.
You can't. I mean, nothing is for free, right? You can't get academia involved. You can't get industry. As much as our heart is in it, we mean to help too, but companies have bills to pay, right? And
well, I mean, behind the scenes, we were talking about this, and we're saying in industry, one of the things industry really does do differently than government is go fast.
Yes.
They go fast.
Yeah.
They break things.
Yep.
How do we fix some of the things we break? By breaking it, to know where its limitations are and get past it. And so he's saying, yeah, we've got to go fast.
And that's something that I mean, we both come from the military too, and we say innovate, but do we really do it? And I think what he's saying is, no, we don't really do it, and we're about to.
Yeah.
I think that's the stance that he's putting his 2 feet down. No, we're not just gonna say we're gonna innovate. We're about to really effing innovate.
Yeah, yeah, I like it.
We have shown that we can and that we must enlist the world's leading talent in this cause. These are not science projects. They are not governance boards. They are the execution standard for the entire department. We will not win the future by sprinkling AI onto old tactics like digital pixie dust. We will win by discovering entirely new ways of fighting.
Yeah, so I actually got a good chuckle out of it because I think he makes a great point. It isn't just about how do I use terminology or, have a touch point to be able to say I did a thing, like the semantics. He's actually being very clear in, hey, show me working software or automation and do it in weeks, not give me certain slides of things in short quarters. Like, demo to production pathways matter just as much as the model. How are you moving fast? How are you making us faster?
Yeah, results.
That's right.
That's what's glaring out is results. Is don't just sprinkle some AI on it, add some seasoning. Yeah. I actually need that meal. Deliver the results.
That's
and
right.
if you're not delivering the results, then you may not be the best partner for the Department of War.
I think it goes back to my original point that this isn't just about modernization. This is about innovation. So don't just tell me that you had AI somewhere in your process. Tell me by showing me that we moved faster because of what you're doing. Yeah.
And because I think they're trying, to your point, what they're trying to prevent is what happened when cybersecurity used to be the beautiful baby, right? Is you just throw in the cybersecurity terms here and there. Oh, yeah, we're compliant. Cybersecurity was the buzzword. And I think he's trying to be kind of ahead of the curve and be like, no, don't try to hit us with just those AI buzzwords. Show me.
That's right.
Yeah. I like that.
I mean, I think it should be a given, but it's always worth saying, like, speed shouldn't be an excuse for us to have weak controls, though. He's not saying, like, hey, just deliver me some crap product in a short amount of time. What he's saying is successful teams have already baked in security, testing, ATO evidence, all of that stuff. That is an expectation. Get that into the delivery pipeline ahead of time, but then speed and assurance are moving together when you're delivering.
I like that. Move quick, but also maintain compliance.
Yeah.
Speed wins. Speed dominates. Our enterprise currently operates on staffing and committee cycles measured in months and years, and that's unacceptable. Military AI is going to be a race for the foreseeable future, where the risks to U.S. national security of moving too slowly outweigh the impacts of imperfect alignment. To do this, Cam and his team at CDAO will define AI deployment velocity metrics for all the pace-setting projects in the next 30 days and report at least monthly after that. These will become the new benchmarks for programs across the department.
So my first take on that is The awareness he has, I applaud him, because what he's really saying is we can no longer move at the speed of government.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. Like he's aware, right? Which is, I mean, it's a saying for a reason, right? Unfortunately, we love you, right? But he's saying, no, we can't move like that anymore.
That's right. It's one of those things that we don't hear a lot of people say, because it's easy to think we want to move fast. But he's saying AI velocity. Think of how fast it happens. You put something into AI and it'll read a thing that takes you a week in minutes.
Yep.
That's the kind of velocity, and speed wins. And so he's basically saying, take those tools, and if velocity is the goal here, the measure cycle from, the day you say, okay, we're starting, to the end time, there's got to be some measurable outcome that the government can actually do something with. But they've got to fund that. They've got to fund us to work fast.
Touche. Yeah.
It's one of those things that we can no longer operate under the old way of just putting butts in seats. That's just not a thing we can do. Those butts need to be delivering measurable output.
Yes, and I would probably say if I'm part of the old guard and I'm being resistant to this change, that's not going to work moving forward.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I mean, seriously, though, velocity metrics actually can be gamed. People can, manhandle some of those things. So pairing speed with actual measurable outcomes, security, reliability, and user adoption, so that we don't trade that pace that they're looking for us to move at with fragility.
But you know what? I think he's making a statement. SpaceX, and if you watch the whole video, right, they make it a point that Elon Musk, he set the standard. Game it if you want to. You will get caught.
I think that contractors, just in general, can expect to be judged not just on a one-time thing. Remember the old halo effect when you're in the military? They used to say you did one thing good, people would expect you to do everything good.
Yeah.
I think we're saying here, those days are over. You're going to be judged on repeatable delivery, frequent demos, instrumented releases. There's going to need to be proof that increments improve. Metrics, receipts, they're going to need to be able to see what we're doing. And I think it's important that we take that into account.
Yeah.
Barriers to data sharing, authority to operate, or ATOs, test and evaluation, and contracting are now treated as operational risks, not simply bureaucratic inconveniences. We are blowing up these barriers.
So that's a powerful statement. I come from the world of ATOs, and that actually sent chills up my spine when you said that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big shift because there are admin hurdles. We know that, right? And so we need to be able to look at those admin hurdles and then decide if there's an operational risk involved in that. And then what is the cost advantage if those things are slowing us down? I mean, people always say, fail forward, be willing to fail forward. Take a prototype and fly it and then see, you might lose a life in it. I'm not advocating for that, but I'm just saying you've got to take some risks, but in order to innovate, in order to move fast. And he's talking about a big shift. Moving fast, there's going to come with some risks, some admin hurdles too. So
and you got to be ready to cut that red tape as fast as possible. Because my takeaway, having experience with ATOs and having to go through that, gruesome process. It is a gruesome process. It can slow down the ability to get capabilities to the people that need it quickly. Like, I'm still waiting for it. Hasn't been approved yet. What I'm taking from that is, hey, we need those interim ATOs. Give me a waiver. It seems like he's kind of downward directing his subordinates. Be ready for those waivers. Be ready to do whatever you need to do so the ATO process doesn't get in the way and our war fighters get what they need. Not now, but like yesterday. Yeah,
100%. Like, have a plan to execute quickly once you get the waiver that you need for whatever you feel is the admin hurdle in the way of your efficacy.
So I don't think you want taxpayers hearing, well, why didn't this happen down, name a theater, wherever we may have troops deployed, right? Well, we couldn't get them what we needed because we didn't have an ATO approved.
But there's got to be a dependable, repeatable process, right? Like, how do these folks know how to submit, where to submit, to whom to submit? How do they know how much time those folks have to get an answer back to them so that they know whether or not they can execute on the change?
Yeah. A lot of this conversation has been about speed, but what you're talking about is setting up some type of framework and systems that has that predictability.
Yeah, because 100% there's got to be an outcome. 100% we're talking velocity. 100% we're talking about, moving quickly, but doing it within a process that demonstrates you're still thinking about safety, security. But at the same time, if you're saying, hey, we've got to move faster than we've been moving and we've got to get past some of these bureaucratic hurdles, there's got to be a process by which people can rely on submitting for change and getting an answer back quickly.
So he's saying, show me your systems.
Yeah.
System party.
In acquisitions reform, we killed the defense acquisition system and created accountable portfolio acquisition executives, making speed to delivery our organizing principle. We're going to do the same for technological innovation.
He's saying we're already removing some of the things that we have control over, and now we're looking to you to do the same thing.
And they're going to have their portfolio managers, program managers. They're managing all of this change in a projectized way. That's my take from that. It's where you have no longer do you have that whole the council of Canes, shout out to Marvel, but we no longer have that. They canceled that. But he's saying that no, it's not going to rely just on councils. It's going to be one person that's accountable.
Yeah.
And that person will be held to account if things aren't being managed correctly. That's my take from that.
Push toward reusable controls, make sure there's continuous evidence, and then, of course, decision authority at the lowest reasonable level.
Ooh, and you know what? That takes away from the whole blame game.
Sure.
Oh, well, I couldn't do
Take onus for the decision you made. Yeah, for sure.
Data. AI is only as good as the data that feeds it. And the U.S. military has an asymmetric data advantage from 2 decades of military and intelligence operations that no other military in the world can replicate. But right now, we are underutilizing this advantage. Too much of our data is stranded. It's stuck in bespoke program databases, locked behind Title 10 or Title 50 stovepipes, invisible to operators, engineers, and industry who can help us exploit it with winning speed and scale. Data hoarding is now a national security risk, and we will treat it that way. AI is an important part of the future, but here's another truth that we've ignored for too long. Beyond AI, we've treated every other kind of innovation as if they're the same. As you know, they're not. We need to break down unnecessary barriers to rapid technological development, adoption, and transition.
Yeah, so data is the limiting factor, right? So it's one of those things. He's talking about stranded data. And if stranded data is about, getting the people that need it, operators, whomever, to it, it's mission speed that he is leading us toward. And if the right people can't access the right data in a safe manner and timely, then AI becomes an academic exercise.
Yeah, it's always been about that, right? It's the different iterations. You kind of talked about it, right? As far as like the different eras we've been in when the technology was changing, even back to the telegraph era,
That's
right? Where I needed that data, that information to make a decision. We've been seeing that in the field. And I would imagine a lot of my BD counterparts out there, I've seen a lot of requirements coming out for data standardization across all federal agencies. They're asking for that help. Yeah. Hey, help us standardize our data. And he's kind of telling you why all the federal agencies need help standardizing that data, because now it's almost like FISMA all over again, the Federal Information Security Management Act, right? Where the intent of that was so all the federal agencies can do a better job sharing intel and information, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this is the next iteration of it, and it's kind of being led with the whole AI initiative.
Yeah, and this is the same thing I was just saying about like the difference between modernization and innovation. Like, let's not get this confused. What he's saying is, let's get all these things the same way. I remember when I was a medic in the military, we found that bands, it was as simple as bands. A band that you would have around somebody's wrist in one hospital would mean one thing. And when that person moved to another installation, the band around the patient's wrist, same band, meant something totally different, which was a risk both to mission and to the patient. And so in this instance, I think the government needs to work really hard to clarify that data. And when a contracting officer is working on writing these contracts, they need to contract for interoperability and shareable data, because if all these customized stovepipes don't allow us as industry to move quicker.
The way one agency does it should be replicated across all agencies, because there are times when multiple agencies have to collaborate in different areas. And you don't want how maybe the Department of Treasury does one thing to collide with how the IRS does it, and we can't get the mission done.
That's right. Data management plan is now a part of your mission and credibility. But I mean, seriously, we say that all the time, that, man, we're constantly having to interpret the intent behind this, or what this one person wants, or what this one person needs, how it's all written differently, like standardization. Go figure. Yeah.
How about that?
Dependable, repeatable.
We will win this race by becoming an AI-first warfighting force across all domains, from the back offices of the Pentagon to the tactical edge on the front lines. The catalyst for this acceleration will be 7 pace-setting projects focused on mission threads across warfighting, intelligence, and enterprise missions, each with a single, accountable leader, aggressive timelines, and measurable outcomes that answer a familiar question, Elon.
Single, accountable leaders, right?
Yep.
Aggressive timelines really only work if authority and resources follow. Do people know who's in charge? And do they know who is responsible for what? Accountability, responsibility. It's making sure your RC matters.
Definitely. And moving at the speed of the private sector now, that's the recurring theme is speed of government. We need to change that. It needs to be equivalent to the speed of the private sector, because that's what they do. That's what SpaceX does.
That's right.
That's what we as the Department of War needs to do. And I think also too, the message to industry partners is we have to enable that.
Sure. Yeah. The government, though, I mean, if the government is setting this pace, their projects should then create reusable patterns that the rest of the enterprise can copy and that industry can fall in line with.
Point. Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. I mean, if these are 7 pacing projects, like what ships in the first 2 weeks, and then who has authority to accept it. These are the kinds of things that you're like, how are we delivering? How are we delivering quicker? Maybe you don't wait for the 100% product if in fact these things can help the government move faster, like just thinking differently.
I see what you're saying.
So, I mean, it's just a thought, right? Like, how can
It's okay to iterate.
Yeah.
I like that.
Prototyping.
We will invest heavily in expanding our access to AI compute, from data centers to the tactical edge, and will tap into hundreds of billions of dollars in private capital flowing into American AI. President Trump's executive order has directed us to build data centers on military land and to work with the Department of Energy to ensure that we dramatically increase the number and breadth of resources needed to power this computing infrastructure.
There's that word you said, resources. To your point, we need those resources. And the way I hear him laying that out, right, I've been stationed at a missile base before, right? And that was the main priority, was to make sure we had everything we needed to maintain the missile silos, the parts you needed for the missiles, replacement parts, everything those missiles needed, right? That's what we're looking forward to for data centers, because he said, hey, I got approval to build the data centers on the bases. That's a whole new weapon system, if you will, that's going to require a whole ecosystem of support.
Well, I mean, contractors will need to have the credible integration plans, right? Because across data centers, there's going to need to be cloud, edge, and then there's an ecosystem territory that we need to understand as industry, that no one company is going to be able to do it all. And so we need to expect more teaming that happens around commute, data engineering, cyber, and operations that are used to deliver usable capability end to end. I mean, if one company is trying to feel like they are the best at all the things, they might miss out on some of the really strong capability that a teaming partner could bring and allow them to deliver faster, more secure, more efficient to the government customer.
And that's dangerous, because if you try to act like you're the one for all, No, you're doing a disservice to your point, because even outside of just the cyber tech stuff, you also need you need HVAC to keep all that that stuff cool. You need facilities management. You also need logistics. You need everything. There's
That's
this.
right.
It may sound like tech and AI, but you need the whole ecosystem. They will essentially will need the same support a small community would need just for the data centers, which is opportunities for industry partners, but also too, the industry partners need to understand, don't try to do it all.
Yeah.
You know, spread the wealth, get the help, but it's in service of accomplishing their mission.
Yeah, well, I mean, as we're talking about AI, one of the things that, some people get afraid of is that AI is going to replace the human behind the machine. I mean, at the end of the day, there's always going to be the need for the human. And as long as there's a need for the human, either to give the right prompts, check the accuracy of the data, or execute on it, those humans are going to have requirements. And they're going to need to be taken care of along the way. And so mission is going to matter wholesale. I think that you make a great point in we're going to have to continue to take care of the entire site picture. And so not to limit ourselves as industry on this single focal point, because there will be other requirements. It's one of the things that I really found great about the entire speech as a whole is we're moving and we don't want to move without you. So pull up your bootstraps and move along with us, industry. We're ready to go.
It's time to go. Matter of fact, we've already gone.
That's right.
You better catch up to us if you haven't, or you will get left behind. I think that's the ultimate message is in his position, he has to look out for the warfighter. That at the end of the day, that's what the warfighter and the taxpayer, right?
Sure.
That's who it's really about. And he's basically saying, hey, man, get ready. If you're not ready, I don't know if you can get ready.
Yeah,
that's my take on that.
End game, mission success.
There you go.
And so we're out to win, and we're with the secretary all the way. And so I'll just end with this. It isn't a government versus industry problem, right? It is a shared delivery problem. And so government controls the incentive and the structure, and industry controls execution and transparency. So when both sides optimize for the outcome increments and then bring proof of that delivery, not just paperwork, everyone is going to win. And they are clearly saying they want us to win together. So it's a standard worth moving toward.
Yeah, I agree. The whole time you were saying just win just kept repeating in my head. We want to win. And it takes that collaboration of the whole military industrial base to do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we need not fear as industry. They're not saying they want to get rid of us or that they're only taking a few of us along. They're saying all of you that pull up your bootstraps and are ready to move at our speed, come along.
Let's go.
Yeah. As always, we appreciate you joining us. We're looking forward to seeing you here next time on Unsolicited.